One. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. We're going to do two things for you here on this Thursday morning. One, we're going to get into that detailed weather forecast, but number two, and this is a new segment that we're going to start doing every day for the next couple of weeks. We're going to take one climate change or climate related question and we will answer it for you. And so we're going to get to that here in just a couple minutes time. But start things out by taking a look here at what we're seeing across the metro area and also really in terms of the overall weather picture. There's kind of three things that stick out to me at this point in terms of that overall forecast. Number one, those winds that were whipping about yesterday, well, they're over and done with for the most part. Still some of those gusty winds along the far eastern plains. I'll show you those in just a second. But for the most part, those winds way calmer for us here on this Thursday. Now, as we get into your day tomorrow and into your Saturday, we will spike those temperatures very briefly, but we will get those temps probably into the 70s for your day tomorrow in Denver. And then next week, we're going to have a couple chances for snow. I'll walk you through those as well. In the meantime, what we're looking at right now is 48 degrees, sunny skies. Those winds, again, still a little bit blustery, nothing too crazy, but that northeast wind at 12 miles an hour bringing us some of that cooler air. And I'm going to put that into quotation marks. It's cooler air. Our high today would be somewhere around 58, 59 degrees. That is actually only 2 or 3 degrees below average. But again, still a bit of a cooler air mass compared to what we've seen throughout much of the week. Now, overnight, we did have some snow showers that were stuck in the mountains and some blowing snow as well. That snow has mostly dissipated, though we still have some leftover cloud cover, and that cloud cover will gradually dissipate as we head through the day into the mountains. Still enough moisture trapped in the mountains that I wouldn't rule out a snowflake or two from I-70 on north for some of those higher elevations, but we're pretty much done with the snow. After a good, at the Eisenhower Tunnel, looked like it snowed for about 36 straight hours up there, but again, that is long over and done with now at this point. That's certainly some good news. I know we did have quite a few traffic-related issues on Loveland Pass and at the Eisenhower Tunnel. Those are over and done with at this point. And again, that cloud cover that you're seeing up in the mountains right now, that will dissipate as we head through the course of your day. And additional snowfall, again, we're done with it pretty much with the exception of a flake or two in some of those west-facing slopes of the Elk Heads and the parks. Now, the cloud cover, as I mentioned, dissipates for us into the foothills and the mountains. In Denver, it is a gorgeous sun-splashed day for us here on this Thursday. Sunshine abound. Temperatures will get on up into the mid to probably upper 50s, depending on exactly where you all are. If you're probably 6,000 feet, 7,000 feet, maybe looking at some of those highs in the mid-50s, you get the idea. It's going to be on the cool side, but nothing too crazy cool about this for the final Thursday of the month of October. And by the way, it is our second to last 6 p.m. sunset tonight until, early to next March. I can hear Danielle, my colleague meteorologist Danielle Grant, grunting over in the corner for obvious reason. I could probably hear you grunting as well, watching that as well. I'll have more on that in just a second and further depress you. Meantime, wind gusts into the eastern plains. We are looking at some of those gusts at 40 plus miles an hour still. So again, you get from a line of about Fort Morgan, Lyman on east. So Morgan County, certainly into Elbert County on east. That's where we are looking at those wind gusts that are still holding tough. That does mean probably a bumpy ride in or out of DIA today, as always. Seems to be the case, but especially for your day today. We will be looking at some of those bumpy skies. Again, if you're taking off or flying into Denver, don't be too worried about it. It's just the wind. It's just Mother Nature giving you a little bit of a shake to let you know that she is there. So those wind gusts will kind of gradually dissipate even for our friends in the eastern plains for your day today. So as we head through the day, those winds will be pretty gradual to back on off. Now, by the way, quick reason why we're seeing these strong winds is the jet stream is right overhead. And this is a very, very strong jet stream. And that, if you saw all that crazy weather that happened in California along the West Coast back over the weekend, that same jet stream is now right over us. Or the jet stream is narrow ribbon of really strong winds about 30,000 feet up that leads to a lot of our weather. And when it's parked right over you, you tend to know it. And that's what happened yesterday. And that's what we're seeing on the eastern plains today. This jet stream is taking its sweet old time getting on out of here, but it is getting out of here. And as it does so, we will see those winds slacken along the eastern plains later on today and tonight. Denver, again, you'll have a breeze. You'll notice it today at times, but it won't be nearly as windy as yesterday or certainly as windy as Tuesday night. We did have some wind gusts in the 50 plus mile an hour range for some of us back on Tuesday night. Now, forecast highs for your day today. Denver, we'll call it upper 50s, right around 60 degrees for us here. But those temperatures for some of us could get into the 60s and 70s along the Eastern Plains Mountains, mostly stuck in the 30s and the 40s for your Thursday afternoon. Now, current temperatures, a lot of 30s and 40s into the mountains, 40s and 50s into the Eastern Plains. And a closer look in, one of the things we want to do with this segment is go a bit more neighborhood by neighborhood with that hour-by-hour forecast for you, and kind of focus in on what you can expect for today and tomorrow. Well, again, Denver at DIA, it's 48, downtown 46, 44 Littleton, 46 Boulder, and 52. Longmont is always that hot spot in the metro area. It's 52 right now up there, and Greeley at 49. As usual, the mountains a little bit on the cooler side, but what might be interesting, notice Estes Park. 48 degrees. You will notice this as we get into your day tomorrow, as the mountains may actually be a tick warmer than the plains, because we're going to see some warmer air at the upper levels of the atmosphere work its way down first to those higher elevations. So long story short, tomorrow might actually be as warm, if not maybe even a tick warmer in places like Netherland, Estes Park, and Kremling compared to Denver. You're already seeing that. Again, those temperatures are pretty equal. Normally, of course, there'd be a sharper difference. Silverthorne, though, you're still basked in some of those clouds. That's why you're right around freezing out there. Now, forecast we get through your day today and into your day tomorrow. Denver, again, lots of sunshine for us, and that warming air that I mentioned that will first reach some of those higher elevations, well, it'll reach us here in Denver as well. We'll get some of those downsloping winds as we get into your day tomorrow. And just a little Weather Nerd 101, if you ever hear me or any meteorologist say the word downsloping in Denver, that almost always means warm. And that's because as you get these air particles to downslope off of the mountains, they accelerate and they warm, and that's why we're going to be talking about those temperatures into Denver getting up to 70 as we get into your day tomorrow. So 70 for Denver, 71 Aurora, 67 Castle Rock, 72 into Littleton. And again, notice even Lyon 69, Estes Park 61, Idaho Springs 63. So temperatures in the higher elevations will be fairly comparable to what we're expecting here into the metro area, at least for the Front Range foothills, because again, that warming air mass will first reach the higher elevations, then work its way down into Denver. So tomorrow, just a picture-perfect day. We'll get to that Halloween forecast in just a second, but if you want to celebrate Halloween a little bit early, or maybe you've got a bit more of an outdoor-friendly costume, maybe one that's not quite as warm, I would break that out for your day tomorrow, because Sunday and Halloween, not looking all that warm or all that great. So break that out for your Friday night or for your Friday, because it is going to be picture-perfect for us in around the metro area for your Friday. Now, getting into that 7-day forecast, and the weather, it's all over the place, needless to say. We've got rain, we've got snow, we've got 70s, we've got below freezing temperatures. It is Colorado in the fall in a flash over the next week. By the way, we do get a couple chances for snow next week, but kind of want to focus in here on Saturday and Sunday. Sharp cold front reaches us probably late Saturday night or early Sunday morning, and that will bring down our temperatures. You'll notice increasing clouds during the day on Saturday. Then by Sunday, we do see some of that rain flipping over potentially to some wet snowflakes. I was just talking about this with Danielle. The computer models are really all over the place still on this, so don't necessarily count on that. Any rain or snow we would see for trick-or-treaters out there would be very late on Sunday night. So I think your trick-or-treating should be mainly on the dry side on your Sunday. It's just going to be chilly. And same, by the way, for those of you that maybe like me are heading to the Broncos game on Sunday, it is going to be pretty chilly on Sunday afternoon. So just keep that in mind. And then for your Monday and the start of November, I know it's already November, it will be raining and maybe snowing a little bit for us here into Denver. I think the better chance, though, for some accumulating snow at this point in the Denver area would be Tuesday and into Wednesday. That's the way it looks right now. But again, there's a bit more uncertainty, and you've probably heard us say this before. I've only been here for 5 months, but I feel like I say it all the time. But there's a lot of disagreement amongst the computer forecast models. This system in particular, it's a very kind of subtle, small little system. So there's a lot more movement with it, and therefore I would say there's more uncertainty than usual with what we're talking about for Sunday and Monday. So don't take it to the bank, but just I would plan on certainly colder weather and at least the chance for some rain and maybe a few wet snowflakes. It will not be a big deal, though, if we do see snow on Sunday, Monday. It won't really stick on the roads all that much. It'll be kind of, again, you'll see a few snowflakes in the sky, and everyone will kind of politely freak out a little bit, and then we'll move on with our day for your Monday and your Tuesday. It'll be the first, of course, snowfall of the season for us into the Denver area. Our average for snow is on October the 18th. All right, another thing that we're going to be doing here on this segment, at least over the course of the next few weeks, is we're going to be taking your questions about the climate specifically. And I know that you do have a lot of climate questions out there. We've been asking for some of your questions, and we've gotten a lot of them. So the first question that we're going to answer comes from Jeff in Lakewood. And his question is, the Earth has been warming and cooling for millions of years. How do you prove that the current warming period is due to man-made climate change? And are the sun's solar cycles taken into account? So it's a really good question, and Jeff, thank you for asking that. So I'm going to repeat that one more time so just you can maybe absorb it for a quick question. The Earth has been warming and cooling for millions of years, which is, of course, 100% true. How do you prove that the current warming period is due to man-made climate change, and are the sun's solar cycles taken into account? And that is, again, the climate question of the day. If you also have a question, feel free to send us a question about that as well. You can, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, type it into the comments section. We'll go through those questions and answer one a day for the next few weeks. And again, thank you to Jeff for writing in a very, very good question, also a perceptive one as well, because again, what Jeff is saying is certainly true. The climate, and let's start things out by answering this question with a basic definition of what the climate is. So I was just talking about the weather, right, for the last little while. Climate is the average of weather over a long period of time. Now, normally, for example, here in Denver, we measure our climate based on 30-year averages. Now, when you're talking about a 30-year average, for example, in the month of October here in Denver, I probably don't have to tell you the weather can either be 10 degrees and snowing, or it can be sometimes 80 or even 90 degrees and sunny. So climate is averaging that all together to give you a picture about what Denver's climate is like. So for example, today, or let's say Sunday, right? Sunday I was mentioning on Halloween how it might rain or snow. That's one day. So it might rain on Halloween. That's the weather. The climate is saying that Denver is a dry climate, which of course is true. We live in a fairly dry place. So again, just for a little bit of context there, when we're talking about climate, we're talking about the long-term average over a specific place or places. So when we're talking about the global temperature change, that is over the entire Earth, of course. And again, what Jeff is saying, that the Earth has been warming and cooling for millions of years, is 100% true. And I've got this chart up for you, which shows the global average temperature change going back about 2,000 years to, this would be, I think, back to 200 BC or so. So there are natural fluctuations based on different things. There can be volcanic eruptions, perhaps, that fluctuate temperatures. There are warmer periods based on the based on the positioning of the sun. There are little ice ages. For example, there was one between about 1400 and 1750 AD as well. So we've got these natural fluctuations that take place. But if you notice there at the very end of this chart, I'm going to put my mouse over here, right there is where you've got that huge spike. And that spike is obviously, if you look back over 2,000 years, or even if you go back over 2 million years, this spike is so pronounced, and it is so, it just completely stands out from the rest of the time periods here, and it's in such a short period of time, and it continues to accelerate. That is how we know that, yes, that there is something different going on, and the difference is obviously supported by science in this instance, when we do have greenhouse gas emissions that are being trapped in at the surface, and that is warming and continually, again, this is an exponential process, and sorry, that might be a bit of a nerdy word. The rate that the Earth is warming is accelerating. So right now, the Earth is warming at about a rate of 0.2 of a degree Fahrenheit every 10 years. That might not sound like a lot. You wouldn't notice if the temperature were to fall or drop 0.2 of a degree Fahrenheit. You wouldn't notice that at all. You could double or triple that, you wouldn't notice it. But when you're talking about an entity or a landmass as big as the Earth, that is a huge amount of warmth to take place in a short period of time. And then once you start getting to the point now where we've warmed up a little over a degree Celsius in just a little over 100 years, 1 degree Celsius, by the way, is close to 2 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So we've warmed by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's obviously getting to the point where you're noticing it a little bit, and that's leading to a whole lot of domino effects. So, for example, 2 degrees Fahrenheit of additional warming means that the oceans are 2 degrees warmer, and that means there's more energy. Another fact as well is that when we're talking about warmer air can hold more moisture. So you might have noticed, for example, last month on the east coast of the U.S., there were those dramatic floods in around the New York City area. We've seen hurricanes produce these torrential floods over the last few years, and it's hard to explicitly say that that is due to climate change, but because warmer air can hold more moisture, there, for example, here in Denver, our wettest months are during the summer because we've got that warmer air that can hold more moisture. When you've got, again, you've got more probabilities and more of a likelihood to create dramatic flood events like what we saw on the East Coast back in early September. And again, going back over the last few years, thinking specifically about Hurricane Harvey in Texas, which led in some cases to over 60 inches of rain in southeast Texas, those sorts of situations are becoming more and more likely because of this dramatic warming. There's no other way to put it. It's dramatic. It is a spike. And so, Jeff, to answer your question, that is how we know. This chart, again, you can tell from it that there's something different going on. You probably didn't need me to tell you that. You can just look at this chart and let it speak for itself, that there's something a little bit different going on. So hopefully that explains your question. It is a very good question. If you've got different questions or different things to consider, we're going to try and take a question a day here over the course of the next few weeks and hopefully help you understand climate science a bit better. But for the here and now, just wanted to get into that detailed Colorado weather forecast and also, again, answer your climate-related questions as well. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and have a great rest of your day.